Today, my name is Bonnie. Today we're going to do a short session on the mat. So if you don't have a mat at home, you could lie on a carpet or just place a towel on the floor to lie on. And we'll do some of this work lying down, and then the rest of it we will do on hands and knees. So to prepare, bring yourself onto your mat or your carpet and come into lying down in a Shavasana Pose, just for a minute or two to become aware of your body and your breath. Taking a moment to settle in and to settle down. You may want to close your eyes. And for the next 3 breaths, let the breath be slow and long, and be totally aware of your breath as it flows in and out of the nostrils. With your lips softly close and release around your jaw. You may notice the rise and fall of your belly here. And when you've completed those 3 breaths, let your head roll very slowly, side to side. Let the weight of your head be felt downward towards the floor. Come back to center, bend your knees and bring your feet onto the floor or the mat, and then bring your knees up so that the knees are above the pelvis, and then your feet up to the ceiling, and give everything a nice little shake out so that you have some release around those joints, and this encourages the flow of the synovial fluid around the joints and helps to hydrate them. So just giving them a really, really good shake. Always something that's a worthwhile thing to do, especially early in the morning when you're getting up. We'll start off today with some pelvic tilts. To start with, if you put your hands on your low belly with your fingers just inside of that hip bone, and as you inhale, bring your tail towards the short end of the mat, increasing that space at the low back. So if you were to put your hand there, you would be able to slip your hand underneath it. And on the exhale, as you flatten your low back and shorten that space between your pubic bone and your navel, draw that navel down towards the floor. And we'll go back and forth like that for 2 more breaths, inhaling to come into the arch, exhaling to come into the flat back. Use the soles of your feet on the floor to help keep you anchored as you go back and forth like this. Let this be your last pelvic tilt here. Buttocks always stay on the floor. And then come back to neutral. So we'll add one more thing to this same movement. If you clasp your hands and take them behind the back of your head so that your head is supported now in the hammock of your hands, and let that heaviness of your head still be there. So you're not going to use the throat or the shoulders to lift your head up, but you're going to bring it up with your hands. Let the head be heavy. So here we're going to do the pelvic tilt again, but as you inhale and come into that arched back, press your elbows down towards the floor. And as you exhale and flatten your back, now we'll lift the head and shoulders up and look between the knees. And then release down, and we'll do that 2 more times. Inhaling, pressing the elbows down, exhaling to release and come up. Release the head down. 1 more here. Inhaling and exhale, and bring the head and shoulders up, and release your head and shoulders down and relax. Take your hands away from the back of your head for a minute. We're going to do now a neck release, which is more of a somatic movement, and this will also include taking the hands behind the head. But to start with, I'd like you to roll your head side to side and keep your eyes open, and notice how far your head goes with ease. To the right, and then let it roll back to the center, and let it roll to the other side, and using your eyes to sort of make a gauge as to where your eyes have come with ease and the head has rolled with ease. And then come back with your head to center. And the movements here are going to be lifting the pelvis, pressing your feet in, lifting the pelvis only 1 or 2 inches off the floor. And then at the same time, lifting the head and shoulders with the head resting into the hammock of the hands as we did before. So when you get yourself set up, and we're going to turn the head in increments from one side and back to center, and then to the other side and back to center. So this time we're going to press the feet in and lift the pelvis just 1 or 2 inches, and then lift your head and shoulders up to look between your knees. Release your pelvis, release your head and shoulders down, and relax. Bring your head halfway over to the right. And now we're going to lift the head on this plane. So press your feet in, lift your pelvis, lift your head and shoulders, so you're looking a bit to the right. Release your pelvis, release your head and shoulders, and relax. Now turn your head as far to the right as it will go with comfort. Press your feet in, lift your pelvis, lift your head and shoulders, release your pelvis, release your head and shoulders, and relax. Come halfway back. Press your feet in, lift your pelvis, lift your head and shoulders, release your pelvis, release your head and shoulders, and relax. Let your head come back to center. Press your feet in, lift your pelvis, lift your head and shoulders, release your pelvis, release your head and shoulders, and relax. Take your arms away now to rest beside you on the mat. And let your head roll to the right and then to the left. And see if you can notice any difference in how it feels from one side to the other. You may notice that your head went more easily to the right than it did the first time. And now we'll do the other side. So clasping your hands again, bringing them behind the back of your head. Press your feet in, lift your pelvis, lift your head and shoulders, release your pelvis, release your head and shoulders, and relax. Bring your head halfway to the left. Press your feet in, lift your pelvis, lift your head and shoulders, release your pelvis, release your head and shoulders, and relax. Let your head now come as far to the left as it will come with comfort. Press your feet in, lift your pelvis, lift your head and shoulders, release your pelvis, release your head and shoulders, and relax. Bring your head halfway back to the center. Press your feet in, lift your pelvis, lift your head and shoulders, release your pelvis, release your head and shoulders, and relax. Come all the way back to the center. Press your feet in, lift your pelvis, lift your head and shoulders, release your pelvis, release your head and shoulders, and relax. Bring your hands away from the back of your head and let them rest beside you. Let your head roll slowly side to side now a couple of times, taking a moment to notice how you feel now with those muscles around the neck and the shoulders. You feel that there's a little bit of release in any tightness that may have been there at the beginning. And now if you would roll onto your side and use that top hand in front of the heart center to press up and come around to hands and knees. If you have tender knees, make sure you have a blanket or some extra cushioning to protect your knees. Let your arms be shoulders width apart with the palm of the hand nicely spread. Fingers are wide apart and you're pressing into the pads of the fingers and the heel of the hand. The knees are underneath the hips, and you could have your toes curled under or pressing into the tops of the feet. And we're going to go into some very simple cat-cow, starting with a neutral spine, and then coming with the tail up, letting the belly drop, looking along the floor, and maybe looking up if it's comfortable for your neck. And then on the exhale, the tail comes down, you draw the belly in, and the chin comes into the chest. So you're in that nice rounded back. And go back and forth like this 2 more times in your own time. If you like to close your eyes, you could do that so that you can feel the ripple effect around the area of the spine as you go back and forth into these movements. Coming into the cat-cow for one last time here. Inhaling and exhaling to come into a rounded back. And then come back to neutral spine. Bring your buttocks back towards your heels. You could let your knees come a little bit wider here and rest into a comfortable child's pose. You may want to have your forehead resting on your hands or a block. Taking a full breath here. Bringing your hands onto your shoulders to come back up and bring yourself around to a seated position. And if you wish to now go into a Shavasana for any length of time that you would like to do that, this is a really good time to do it. You could just lie yourself down on the floor and bring your awareness to your breath. And so that's the session for today. Thank you.